How's it going? This is Nathan Hawken, and thank you for joining me in this video. In today's video, what I'm going to be talking about is expectations. The expectations that you put upon other people and things, but more importantly, the expectations that you put upon yourself and are currently holding yourself to. I think it's important if we just talk a little bit about what an expectation is first. And I actually went to the dictionary to look this up. An expectation is a strong belief. A strong belief that something will happen or something is the case. And if you think about that for a moment, if you have a strong belief that someone is something, like you've labeled them as something, or something is going to happen, something is going to be the case, then in your mind, that's truth. When we believe something, particularly when we believe something so strongly, it's very difficult to think that anything else other than the thing that we believe is true, or that something won't happen. If we really believe in something, and this goes for like your own personal beliefs about what you believe is true about you. When we start talking about limiting beliefs, we make our limiting beliefs truth to stop us from doing a lot of the things which ultimately we want to be doing. It keeps us inside our comfort zone. They stop us to push ourselves to do something a little bit more, even though we really want it. But when we really believe something is true, then it is true for us. It doesn't necessarily make it a truth. And so when we put that in the context of an expectation, if we have an expectation that something is going to happen, that someone is going to do something, that something is true, then we believe that it is going to happen. We believe that thing about that person. We believe that it is true, but it's not necessarily a truth. Now, as we go through our life, we consciously and unconsciously put expectations upon other people, and we put expectations upon ourselves. When it comes to other people, we can expect people to do something, or to be something, to be someone, to act in a certain way. And when those expectations go unfulfilled, when they don't happen, we can feel hurt. We can feel let down. We can feel angry or disappointed, whatever. And part of the reason for that is this isn't like an expectation is not something that we necessarily communicated with the other person. This is something that we've thought in our own mind that this is going to happen. And so when it doesn't happen, we can feel let down or angry or whatever it may be. And so when we're doing this to other people, we can feel let down by other people, but let's flip that around. What about the expectations that you put upon yourself? Because we do the exact same thing. We put expectations upon ourselves that we're going to be something or someone, we're going to do something or something, that we're going to act in a certain way. And so when we don't step up to that, when we don't fulfill that expectation that we put upon ourselves, we can feel that we've let ourselves down. We can feel angry and sad, but it's not projected towards anyone else. It's brought back internally. And so we can feel bad about ourselves as a result of it. We can think things like, I need to be this. I need to be strong. I need to be smart. I need to be energized. I need to be motivated. Or we can say things like, I need to do it all. Like, I need to do it all. I need to get everything done all the time. I need to make sure that I'm the best, like, husband or wife, father or son, employee, boss, leader. I need to be doing all of it all the time. Or even things like, and I can definitely relate to this, it's, I need to be organized. I need to be productive. I need to be scheduling all of my tasks. I need to be managing my time so effectively. And I know personally when I put these expectations on myself, and even to this day, I still do this. I find myself, I'm overloading myself with an expectation which I know I will probably struggle to live up to because the expectations I'm putting upon myself are way too high. Not too high in that it's impossible for me to do it. Too high in that I'm not being realistic about where I am now and what I can actually physically get done with the resources I have, with the time that I have, with everything else I've got going on in my life. And so when I put these expectations upon myself, particularly when I've just gone through maybe a low time or a down time, and I'm getting back into it and I'm feeling more motivated, I put these massive expectations back on myself, and then slowly but surely I start to get squashed by them because it's too much to do all at once. It's like if you've gone to the gym before and you've got really motivated, you're like, maybe I've put on some extra pounds, maybe I haven't been eating right, maybe I haven't been exercising, so I rejoin a gym, or I go back into my gym after my membership has just been ticking, but I haven't been going. And you get back into the gym, you're like, yes, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to get strong, I'm going to get healthy, no more eating crap, I'm going to be exercising every day, I'm going to be lifting heaps of weights. And you put this huge expectation upon yourself that suddenly you're going to bang and just turn it all around, and you're going to be the epitome of a fit and healthy person that you see all over the social media channels and everywhere else. But then you get into it and you start working at it. Maybe some old habits start to kick back in, and slowly but surely you start to drop off a little bit from your exercise, even though you powered through it for the first couple of weeks, or maybe even powered through it so hard that you burnt yourself out. You pushed too hard, so you have to recover now. And so what happens when you go through that experience? You start to feel bad about yourself. You start to feel maybe you've let yourself down, or maybe you're a failure, maybe that you're not good enough. All these limiting beliefs start to come up. And why is that? Well, it's because we've put a large expectation. You've put a large expectation upon yourself without really thinking about what is actually possible for you right now. It's like going from 0 to 100 in the shortest possible time. Now that doesn't work for us. We've got time, we've got things we need to learn, we've got habits we need to integrate, we've got things we need to do to get us to that point. And so when we jump in head first, which is fine in certain scenarios, but when it comes to things like this, when we're jumping in head first, it can be too much. And so when we don't live up to this massive expectation that we put upon ourselves, we can feel bad. And when we start to feel bad, when we start to feel like we're not good enough, when we start to let ourselves down, what happens? Motivation gets eradicated. And we start to think, well, what's the point? Why do I even bother? One of the things that we're missing is that we never put in place an agreement first, an agreement with ourselves. That I agree to do this, or I agree to get to this point, but it's going to take time. Rather than just put an expectation upon yourself, we need to agree on some certain terms to make sure that it's realistic and that it can happen. There's an incredible audio by a great coach named Steve Chandler. He's one of the coaches that I follow, and he's got a great, very short audio called Expectations versus Agreements. This is part of my inspiration for doing this video, because I had listened to something like that before. But he talks a lot about just that very thing. It's like we put an expectation upon someone to do something, or we put an expectation upon ourselves, but we never actually sit down and agree upon what we are looking to achieve. We never sit down and ask the questions. Is it possible to achieve the thing that I'm looking to achieve in the time that I'm giving it? Is it, like, take the gym example. Is it really possible for me to be this pillar of health within a month? The answer is no. So we need to agree to some terms. And Steve really talks about that. We need to agree on some terms and think, look, I can't do it then, but I can do it at this point in the future. But what I need to do is start taking these little incremental baby steps to make sure that I can get to that point, give myself those rewards along the way, and whatever it may be that's going to help us align with what we agree on, to make sure that we give ourselves an expectation that is real, that is relevant, and that it's something that we can do. It's attainable. To give you a couple of my own examples, and this is another part of the inspiration for this video, because I recognize things within inside myself that I struggle with, and that some of my clients that I'm coaching, that they struggle with. And so I like to create videos around that, because it's very relevant to what I think is a lot of people. And so I know within myself, I've put expectations on my wife without actually communicating that with her. I expect her to be X, or whatever that may be, but I never actually sit down and tell her about the things that I've been thinking about that I would expect. And most of them are expectations that she can't live up to, not for any fault of her own, but because I haven't really thought about or got an agreement from her that it's something that it's possible. This is what I think things should be like. Same with my kids. I mean, I've got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. I put expectations on them. I'm like, well, who am I kidding? How can I expect them to be listening to me all the time, to be cleaning up their mess all the time, to not be making a mess, and all these other things? Please let me know if you can relate to this, because and then I look at the expectations which I put upon myself, and they get vast, like they get big and they get heavy. Like I put expectations upon myself to be a husband, to be the best husband, to step up when I need to, and to do more as a husband. Automatically, that's a strong thing. It's like, well, what does more mean? That automatically applies that I'm not doing enough. I put the expectation upon myself to do more with my kids, to be a better father. I put expectations upon myself to work harder, to do more work, to provide for my family in the best possible way, to be a successful coach, to be more in my business, to do more to become successful, to read more, to grow faster so I can achieve my goals faster, to do more exercise, to be fitter, to be healthier, to be a better son to my parents, to manage everything that I'm doing in a better way all the time. Man, even just hearing myself say that out loud, it's like, man, oh, no wonder I can feel bad sometimes. Like, putting this massive expectation upon myself can really start to cripple me, as I'm sure it is to you. And if you do relate with this, please let me know, leave a comment below. But a big question when I start to think about the expectations I put upon myself, and I encourage you to do the same thing, is when you say to yourself, look, I need to do this, or I need to be this, I need to be more of this. Ask yourself this: according to who? Who is saying that you need to put this expectation upon yourself? Because if it's coming from someone else, then it's irrelevant, right? Because if someone's looking at you through their eyes, they're looking at you from a completely different way. And you don't want to be putting expectations upon yourself that are coming from someone else. You set your own expectations. But if there is something to change, of course, you need to listen to the people around you, the closest people who care for you and want the best for the relationship and the family that you got. But the question is, according to who? And so the expectations are put upon myself. I have to remember, these are self-imposed expectations. These are self-imposed beliefs that I'm going to be this and that I can't live up to. And so when I don't do it, I feel bad. When I say I can't live up to them, it doesn't mean that over a period of time, I can't get to that point. It means that if I'm trying to do it all now and be all of this now, I'm setting myself up for failure, because it is way too much of a big expectation to put upon myself. And that's going to stop me from actually doing the here and now things and doing whatever I can in the best possible way now. I start to feel bad when I'm not living up to these massively inflated expectations. And so what I need to do is stop for a moment and consult with myself first to see if these are things that I can actually do, if I can do them now, or if it's going to take time to get to that place. And so when you look at your own expectations that you put upon yourself or you put upon other people, did you agree to those terms? Did you make an agreement about the expectations that you're putting upon yourself? Or did you just say, this is what I'm going to do, this is who I'm going to be? And it's the same with other people. Did you communicate? Did you both agree on something that's manageable, that's attainable? Or did you just automatically put an expectation upon someone else? And so what can we do? There's a couple of things which I believe will help, and I encourage you to take some time now. As you're watching this, feel free to pause if you need to, or come back to this video, but take some time now to go over these couple of things. So number one is stop and ask. So when you notice that you're putting these expectations upon yourself, and it's starting to pile up, you're starting to feel the pressure of those expectations and not living up to those expectations, just stop for a moment. Stop for a moment, take a breath, and give yourself a breather. Then slow down. Slow yourself right down, because sometimes you need to slow down to speed up. And we don't give ourselves that opportunity enough. I know I don't in my life. I don't slow myself down enough and think things through. So slow down and then ask yourself, what expectation am I putting upon myself right now? And what expectations am I putting on other people right now? Very simple questions. Then once you've got all that down and out of your head and it's on paper and you can see it, the next thing you need to do after that is think. Just think for a moment. Forget about what's expected of you and start thinking about what is realistic for you now. Think about what you can actually do right now that you can feel good about doing. Take some time to do that. And what I want to add here is, and this is what I've struggled with before as well, because when you're in the world of personal development and you're listening to multiple people telling you similar messages but varying messages at the same time, there is a lot of people out there talking about that hustle and grind mentality, about doing as much as you can, about being productive, being organized. Now, me personally, That doesn't work for me. I organize myself as best as I can. I make sure that I'm looking after myself as best as I can. I'm being the best husband and father that I possibly can. So it's not always going to work for everyone to have that type of mentality. And this is where conflict can arise. There's a very important lesson here, and that is you do what works for you. You do what's achievable for you, what's realistic for you. Okay? It's not about what everyone else is telling you to do. And I totally appreciate that this is a video trying to help you and share with you some things which I believe will help you. But once again, what I'm telling you works very well for me. It can work for you, but you may not be someone that really resonates with this way of doing it, and that's okay. You just need to figure out what works for you. This is always going to be the message. I believe this helps when you slow yourself down and you stop and think and put it on paper. So forget about what's expected of you. Forget about the expectations that you put upon yourself, and forget about the expectations that you put upon other people. Think for a moment and just ask, what is realistic for me now? Think about what you can actually do that's going to make you feel good. Even if it's just one little thing every day, awesome. That's it. Because those things build up momentum and they will compound over time. And lastly, what I believe is helpful is to communicate and then agree. Communicate with yourself and of course with others about what's realistic, what realistic expectations that you have now. You just ask yourself, communicate with yourself, all right, man, what's realistic for me now? What's a realistic expectation that I can put upon myself, that I can feel good about? And same with other people. All right, don't be scared. Just say, look, this is an expectation to put upon yourself, that I put upon you, and I just want to get some type of agreement, communicate with you, because I want to know that if I'm expecting something from you and you can't do it, I want to make sure that there's something that is a win-win for both of us. And through that communication, then just decide. Decide if they are realistic and if they are possible. Ask yourself those questions. Now, is this realistic? Is this possible? If it's yes, good, go ahead. If no, think about something else. What else could be a realistic option there? Same with other people. Decide, is this realistic? Is this realistic for you? Is this realistic for me to expect this? And is it possible? And if it's yes, awesome. If no, then you can work out something that works for both of you. And then lastly, just agree on what you're going to do. Make the agreement with yourself. Say, yes, this is possible. I can do this and I agree to do it. Great. Can we agree that this can be done? Can we both agree that this is something that's possible, and can we agree that it's going to happen? Yes, we can. Great. So once you've got those things, then you're pretty much set. And I don't know about you, but I feel a little bit better just thinking about it anyway. Taking those few minutes to just decompartmentalize, take your time, slow down, think it through, and then actually have a more positive result as your outcome, because now you're moving forward. So with that, I very much appreciate you watching the video. Thank you so much. Please feel free to leave a comment below if you've got any questions or if this has resonated with you, and I will catch you in the next video. Take it easy. How's it going? Thank you so much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. I hope there was something in it that is of value to you and is serving you in your day-to-day life. If you did like it, please feel free to give it a like and a subscribe. And also, if you wanted to support more of my work, I do have a link to my Patreon page in the description below. And as well as that, if you're looking for a little bit more access to me, or you'd like to get involved in my community and get some more exclusive content, I do have a free Telegram group which you can join. That is also in the description below. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.